Hello and welcome to the debate. I'm your host Sana Maqbool with you once again at PTV WORLD, bringing you the top stories from around the world and within Pakistan. For today's show, we have two very important stories that we want to discuss. The first of which, of course, is related to Pakistan and the acquiring of the J-10 aircraft from China. This is an announcement that was made earlier by the Interior Minister Sheikh Rashid, who spoke about the acquiring of the J-10C aircraft and the usage of 25 of these aircraft to be used as flyover on the 23rd of March parade. Since then, the announcement, we know that this, of course, would be an important development, and we will be exploring in further detail whether or not these jets are going to be an important addition to Pakistan's Air Force, specifically with regards to countering threats from India and to match the Rafale jets that India is procuring from France. We will also be exploring in further detail the kind of impact that this deal is going to have on the relations between China and Pakistan and the US. And then, of course, what really motivated this move, whether or not what critics say was Islamabad's perhaps only choice, was it really true, or the fact that these aircrafts will actually add value to Pakistan's Air Force capabilities. We will be discussing all of these issues in further detail in the show as our guests also join in the discussion. And for the second segment, we will be talking about an important development also with reference to China, which of course is the Pak-CHI Business Investment Forum that the Prime Minister Imran Khan launched yesterday. This of course is important in terms of increasing exports in the country, bringing more industries to Pakistan, and overall improving industrialization in the country to boost the economy, something that the Premier has been trying to do for a while now. This of course will be also explored in further detail as to how this forum can actually benefit the industries in Pakistan and what sort of mechanisms and strategies are going to be put in place to increasing the exports in the country. We will be talking about these issues also in further detail as the discussion continues. As usual, we have with us Mr. Farrukh Pitafi and Mr. Faisal for the discussion. Thank you very much for being with us. Before we start our discussion on both of these segments, for our first segment regarding J-10 aircraft, we have a short report prepared by our team. Let's first take a look at that.
Pakistan's Interior Minister Sheikh Rashid announced the acquisition of J-10C fighter aircrafts from China. In a press conference, the federal minister confirmed that Pakistan Air Force has acquired J-10 aircrafts. A full squadron consisting of 25 newly acquired J-10 aircrafts will perform fly-past at Republic Day Parade on 23rd of March. Actual number of purchase and full details of the deal are yet to be confirmed, but according to the federal minister, a full squadron of 25 J-10s will take part in the Republic Day Parade. J-10, or simply J-10, also known as the Vigorous Dragon, is an all-weather multi-role aircraft which is indigenously developed by China-based Chengdu Aircraft Industry Group. J-10C is the third variant of J-10 aircraft, which has a top speed of more than 2300 kilometers per hour and ranges more than 1800 kilometers. It has state-of-the-art beyond visual range attack capability on multi-targets and precise ground strike capability in multi-modes. This deal was made in a response to India's Rafale deal with France. They are a good match for Rafale and will effectively help to contain the threat of India. Although Pakistan's F-16s are enough to counter Indian Rafale, but the addition of J-10s in the ranks of PAF will supplement defense capability.
Well, you saw the report. For further discussion on this, we have been joined by Mr. Fahad Masood, who's an international security analyst. Thank you very much for joining us on the debate. My first question would be to you with regards to how this aircraft is being spoken about in terms of countering the Rafale jets that India is procuring from France. In terms of capability, is this aircraft a match with the Rafale jets?
Thank you for giving me the opportunity. First and foremost, we need to understand the categories of different aircraft. Present time, we're looking at the Rafale as well as the J-10. Both these aircrafts come into that 4.5 generation fighter aircrafts, which boasts about limited stealth capability as well as being a multi-role fighter. So considering the face-to-face, head-to-head category, there is a lot of things that need to be catered. First and foremost is the radar capability. The Rafael has got the RBE-2 on board, which is an ESA radar, true, but the J-10 carries one radar which is top of the line, even better than what what the Rafael carries, considering its search and track capability and other modes which are available, especially in the range pattern. The weapon that the J-10 carries, the PL-15 with the PL-10, against the Meteor of the Rafael. Range-wise, once again, the longer stick is the PL-15. So it has its pluses if you look at quantifiable things on paper. But what is the most important or more important aspect is once they come face to face, head to head in a real-time battle scenario.
Right. Faisal, can you help us understand what are the strong points of this radar that you were mentioning, active electronically scanned array? And the second one is PL-15 dual pulse long range air-to-air missiles.
Yes, the radar or the the airborne electronically scanned array radar, the ESA, is the highest end of radar which is there. To be specific, the previous types of radars had limitations of being in one mode or another, may it be for air-to-air weapon employment or air-to-ground weapon employment. So this radar can do both at the same time, if not three, which also includes air-to-sea employment. So this is the plus point of it, one. Secondly, it has got greater ranges of scanning the adversary, greater number of targets it can engage as well. Associated with the PL-15, which is the all-important longer beyond visual range air-to-air missile within the subcontinent. It is the longest possible stick that any country has as we speak.
Right. So it is BVR technology, basically, this pulse, dual pulse missile, right?
Yeah. It is the propulsion of the weapon itself, yes.
Fahad, I wanted to ask, we remember when first India wanted to go for Rafale last year when he went for Rafale in 2020. At that time, we did talk about PL-15 as well. And while talking about it, we did discuss, I remember I did discuss it with you at that time, that PL-15 is something which could be, put on JF-17 as well. So is it the case that still we have the capability that if we modify PL-15 or if we modify JF-17s a bit, then they can be put on to that? And if we talk about the meteors of Rafale and J-10C's PL-15s, where is PL-15 far greater than the meteors?
First question first. Yes, it can be utilized, employed on the JF-17 as well. To be very candid, the present Block 3, which is under testing as we speak, has the capability to carry 5 PL-15 weapons at a time. So we have a multiple missile launcher, which is an MML on the outboard underwing stations, which ensures that greater number of weapons can be carried. Same holds valid for the J-10. So both these aircraft can carry both the PL-15 or the PL-15 itself. So that being first. Secondly, if we look at the capability, once again, PL-15 is something that has been on the cards for a very long time. Considering China, they have been well in the mode of manufacturing it, which included the planning phase. If we go through the literature on it, even the West, the United States Air Force the generals specifically, have raised alarm bells against this missile being longer shot than the AIM-120 C5 AMRAAM. So it is the longer stick or greater ranges. Well, probability of kill being another category which will come with the utility or the application of the missile.
Right. So far, does this mean that this particular deal of acquiring J-10Cs is a good move for the Pakistan Air Force, and is not what critics have been saying a result of Pakistan being short on options, perhaps not being able to get F-16s from the US?
Not at all. I certainly believe it is the best possible option that we have on the cards, considering whatever is happening geopolitically and geostrategically within the region and the realignment of the blocks that is taking place. I believe we have taken the correct corner. I certainly believe it's a matter of time that this thing materializes in greater avenues opening up. We have to look at the comparison of the F-16 with the J-10, once again, it is more to do when once it reaches the Pakistan Air Force and the interoperability is taken into greater account, we can give a better verdict or a judgment on that. But
right.
I certainly believe this is the right one.
Right. When we speak about the impact of this deal, do you think it puts a strain on Pakistan-US relations?
I don't think so, because China is not actually sanctioned. Pakistan and China have this long relationship, and Pakistan has been able to actually balance between the two countries for quite some time, and I think that will continue. Remember one thing, while we have to actually work with, and procure from both countries, in the end what matters are two things. The first thing that matters is that eventually how much domestic indigenous capacity we have to produce more hardware. Because remember that India has a large kitty and it can actually throw money everywhere. Pakistan has some limitations regarding its economy, right? Although we hope that in coming days we actually keep on increasing and evolving our economy, but you will be needing indigenous production as well. Can there be a technology transfer like JF-17 Thunder? That will be an important thing to remember. Secondly, what we have actually discussed previously in previous programs as well, that it is not merely hardware that matters, because Rafale has two engines. This one has, it is lightweight and it has more maneuverability, but it has one engine. The most important thing is the state of fighting force. Whether you have the engine of these, planes at heart, and where you actually are sympathetic with machine, that actually matters. So I think that Pakistan Air Force has shown that whatever the hardware, and this is great hardware, but whatever the hardware, we can give the enemy a bloody or brown nose.
Right. Fahad, when we look at the Chinese aviation industry, it is also being questioned in terms of it not being able to export any advanced aircrafts in the recent past. Does this mean that there is any sort of a compromise that we're making at the moment?
Compromise, no, but I certainly believe we're looking at the future. Considering the J-10, this was the first computer-aided design or the computational fluid dynamic design available in the Chinese market, started back in the mid-80s. It has really come of age, considering both the weapon itself and the avionics on board. I certainly believe this is a medium weight category fighter aircraft, whereas the JF-17 and the F-16 fall in the lightweight category. It has got greater capability of carrying weapons, 11 hard points being specific. But the strongest point that it carries is the all-important winning X factor, which is the network centricity aspect. Present times, war or battle cannot be won by one aircraft alone. So it has to be data fused, sensor fused within the air defense element of a country, where Pakistan Air Force has held its strong point in the recent past as well. So network centricity is a strong point of this aircraft. If we look at the avionics, the interoperability. If we look at the recent past, we've had 9 different Shaheen exercises with China, where we have seen flown against this weapon system. So the Pakistan Air Force has been looking at this for a very long time. Transfer of technology is very much possible as well in the bargain.
Right. Yeah, can you also elaborate on avionics, because you were talking about avionics. Since we are pitching what exactly we are going to actually buy, or we are buying, what is the regarding its avionics suite? What are the strong points?
First and foremost is the radar, which we've spoken of. Second is the helmet-mounted sight. We've got this PL-10 missile on it, which is called a Hobbs, high off-bore sight missile, which has got great maneuverability. Synced with the helmet-mounted or the HMS with the cockpit or the helmet of the pilot can literally look on one side, launch the missile, and engage the enemy. So that is another one. The IRST, which is infrared search and track system, is another aspect, which is a passive device utilized to engage the enemy without spiking up his RWR, which is the radar warning receiver. So the enemy will not know what hit him till the heat-seeking PL-10 or the PL-5 will already be impacting his aircraft. So these are a few major points.
Impressive.
Fahad, very important and interesting question from you, that is related to Northeast Command of India. Last year, I think few months ago, Lieutenant General Manoj Pandey kept on shouting out loud that 3 of the air bases on the Chinese side, they have been completed and J-10s are parked in there. So that meant that India obviously have to equate that and look at the situation in that perspective and put their own planes in there as well. And earlier, while India was busy putting on S-400 against Pakistan, at that time, one of the ministers of India, he said that now our planes would be ready to move towards the northeast of the Indian command. Then are we looking at India being puzzled right now? Why? Because if China puts on J-10s over there and we have the J-10s here, where would the Rafale go? Are they enough, or they will be looking for more?
I certainly believe they will be looking for more. This is my assessment. For the reason a limited number of 36, which is approximately 3 squadrons, is insufficient to fight a two-side war, both across the LAC with China and the LOC or our border with India. So it's going to be a challenging affair for them. Considering the effort that's been put in the recent past on aspects of air power employment in the theater, both in the north of India and its west, I certainly believe it is not at parity with the interoperability aspect or capability of both the Pakistan Air Force and the PLAF, which is the Chinese Air Force. So I certainly believe they will be left wanting. Rafale is a potent aircraft. We've discussed that before. But what is more important in the domain of the subcontinent is to understand the subjectivity of it. You've got high altitude air operations taking place in the Himalayas. We've seen that on 27th Feb 2019 as well. So that theater of war is not as easy as it comes. It has its intricate challenges, especially on the air power employment side. The aircraft engines, the aircraft itself, the platform has its limitations once going at such altitudes. So it's, well, a challenging affair to say the least.
So Sana, I remember last time when we were discussing what we have been saying, and you asked me whether there is a curse. So let me actually give you an example of actual curse. You know how our brother Faisal keeps on bringing up Manoj Pandey, the journal, who he thinks that is going to be the next chief or something. So apparently he has been jinxed. There was some report about him getting bad ACR. So I thought that I will bring it up as well, that this is called a jinx, right?
Right, absolutely. This is what I said. Fahad, when we speak about the J-10Cs as a choice that Pakistan is making at the moment, there's also, of course, the J-10A and B with Russian engines. Is this a choice that involves any sort of political element, or is it just the capability that is the better one in J-10C?
Well, the J-10C has not got the Chinese engines as the latest information which is floating on open source intelligence. They are loaded with the WS-10B, which is a Chinese product. The major issue that was faced previously and which was hindering Pakistan Air Force from acquiring this weapon system was the maturity of, or the dependability of the engine. So all information that is floating right now is not a Russian Saturn AL-31FN, but a WS-10B is on board.
Yeah. One last question, and another one, a very interesting one. You know, earlier this week, we came to know that India is thinking about buying French tanks for the armored corps. And then, of course, now you're telling me that they'll be going for more Rafales from them. And we know for the fact that last year they've been pushed by the Americans to buy nuclear submarines, go for nuclear submarines from the French as well. Once again, the same deal which was actually going towards the Australia, but just because of AUKUS it didn't take place. And now I think somewhere down the line, do you not think that French should be thankful to Chinese, because they are the ones who are creating all of these deterrents for the Indians, and Indians are rushing towards the Western world to buy more and more weapons?
And Faisal, if you allow me to actually piggyback on that, the kind of money that India keeps on spending, do we have any idea of the total amount that India has actually earmarked or is going to spend on these deals?
To be very candid, the financial effect of this is not my forte as we speak. But what I can certainly see that India is stuck between the devil and the deep blue sea. They need to get weapons from, and that too high-tech weapons, may it be tanks, subs, or for that matter the fighter aircraft, the military aspect. They need this support that comes in from the United States, because as we mentioned before, the blocks that are realigning within the world, China, Pakistan on one side, India and America on the other. So it's going to be a very challenging time for the Indians. Where do they get the money for it? It's a problem that they need to solve, or a challenge that they need to overcome. But they will certainly be pushed. If we look at the Americans, they've been giving them options on the F-18 and the infamous F-21 as well, but things have not been materializing there as well. So
Right.
it is.
No, but the only reason I brought up the issue of hardware and how much money India is spending, I understand that India has deep pockets. It can actually procure more and more things. The problem is that for past 2 years, its economy has been in negative growth. So at that time, I think every person all over the world, and especially Indians, need to know or deserve to know how much money is being thrown away on things which are basically toys rather than being spent on their own growth. Remember that there is a CAG report which actually they keep on muzzling, and there seems to be a lot of corruption going on.
Fahd, when we speak about, of course, the J-10Cs coming into Pakistan, it's going to take a lot of time for this acquisition to actually take place. But the statement, of course, that we heard from Sheikh Rashid was that this flyover is going to be held on the 23rd of March parade. Does this mean that the deal was done way back in the past, or do you think that the timeline could be different?
No, the timeline will be very apt to say something within the first quarter of this year, 2022. We will be seeing the aircraft within the Pakistan skies. But the other thing is the acquisition process takes place over a long period of time. It takes its due process, starting from analysis of the aircraft, the geopolitical situation, and then the lower quarters come into a dialogue on both sides of the fence. So I certainly believe it started some time back. If I give it a timeline, maybe a couple of years to 5 years, because we've been looking for alternates to having a 4.5 medium weight multi-role fighter aircraft other than the F-16 within the force. So it's going to come, and it's going to be there, I certainly believe, before the 23rd March, probable.
Right.
Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Fahd Masood, for being with us. Yes, Farrukh,
And
you want to
with
add
your
something?
permission, I just wanted to actually ask Faisal about something that he said. You're saying that the Americans are pressing Indians to actually go seek, a deal for nuclear submarine deal from France, which was cancelled earlier.
Exactly.
Because earlier the deal that was cancelled regarding AUKUS or regarding Australia was actually diesel engine propelled submarines, not nuclear. I don't think, and I don't know whether you mean that nuclear propelled or you mean nuclear carrier, because India has
nuclear propelled.
Okay.
Yeah.
So France, I don't think it is going to happen.
Why I was saying it, last year when suddenly all of the diplomatic chaos happened between French and the Western powers, the other Western powers, at that time, all of a sudden they all went quiet. The only reason was because you remember that Prime Minister Modi met with the French president in there, and that was arranged by the Americans. And in that, of course, there was something which was discussed. It was presented to them, but it didn't go ahead.
No, I get that. But because the cancelled deal is basically not nuclear in nature. So if they are going to actually pick the thread from there, they are going to go for diesel propelled. And if Narendra Modi or his government, by the way, his home minister patently called him that he has that Modi has gone satya gaya or something like that, that he has
gone crazy.
Well,
right?
there's no
or
surprise
something.
there.
So I don't know, but Amit Shah is very close, right?
Yeah.
If he is criticizing Modi, then that means that things are really not looking up. But
And they're
regarding
not.
this
Yes.
deal,
The
I
series of cursing goes on.
right.
Right, let us move on to the next segment of the show, which is also in relation to China. Another important aspect of our relationship with China, of course, is with regards to investment, with regards to business, with regards to trade. And Pakistan's Premier yesterday just launched the Pak-China Business Investment Forum, which is an important platform for Pakistan to bring in more industries and to, of course, increase export and move towards more export-based industrialization. This, of course, will will be an important step in boosting the economy. How this platform can be utilized for furthering these measures and objectives, we'll talk in further detail, and what sort of hindrances and challenges are there for Pakistan to be able to achieve that. Let me also introduce in our show the guests for this segment. We have been joined by Shakil Ahmed Rami, who's an economist. Thank you very much for joining us. And we've also been joined by Mohammed Asfar Ehsan, who's Chairman Board of Investment, who's joined us on telephone line. Thank you very much for being with us on the debate. When we talk about the important aspect of our relationship with China, of course, the economic aspect is an important one. Mr. Asfar, when I talk about the forum in specific regards to how it's going to help boost Pakistan's exports, what sort of plan is there in place to utilize this platform to achieve this objective?
Thank you for inviting me here. Yesterday, we actually hosted the inaugural ceremony of Pakistan-China Business and Investment Forum. And this is a joint initiative of Board of Investment and also all Pakistan Chinese Enterprises Association, along with China Embassy in Pakistan. This was chaired by Prime Minister Imran Khan, and under his patronage, we started this project. Idea is to actually explore opportunities from both sides, and we are engaging companies from both sides for joint ventures and collaborations, and they will share their projects, their desire, and both sides will actually work on outreach to engage maximum investors and to facilitate them in Pakistan. This is the main objective, and this is just the beginning, and major companies we engage from Pakistan and China, and now we are engaging companies from both countries for different sectors actually.
Right, Asfar Sahab, this is the first time we are speaking after you have taken your charge, so congratulations on this appointment. But let me ask you about another very important aspect. One aspect that I see that part of this body, because it has both Pakistani companies and Chinese companies, is information sharing as well. Do you think that at this moment regarding Pakistan's economic condition or the potential areas where investment can be had, we can actually generate more information for the common audiences as well, so that investors from third-party countries can also participate?
Yes, actually, we are working for maximum outreach, as I said earlier. And now the momentum is again gaining, and we had multiple meetings with the China ambassador in Pakistan, along with Chinese investors as well in the last 6 weeks, and I joined the Board of Investment. We had several meetings under the chair of Prime Minister as well, where we interacted with the Chinese investors and we addressed their concerns and their issues here. And we also discussed about the engagement of new investors, the last sites project, for the SMEs as well. So overall, the environment is now very much healthy between the two countries, and the Prime Minister visit to China is also due in next few weeks. This is in pipeline. The dates are not finalized yet, and the government is working for this visit actually, and this will also help to enhance more activities and the bilateral relations.
Regarding the access to information, is BOI planning to create some CPEC-focused and more information-driven portal for the people and investors, where you can actually...
Yes, we already started one portal, and we are working on this actually.
Right, and that of course would be really helpful. Mr. Shakil Ahmed, when we speak about bringing more investment in the country, something that's very important is what Prime Minister Imran Khan also spoke about with regards to, of course, decreasing the time between an agreement and implementation. And this, of course, is very important for the investor to fast track this entire process. But how exactly can we actually achieve that? What sort of measures are there required for us to achieve that, and whether or not any of those measures are currently in place?
Thank you, both of you. Let me state in the very beginning, so with this new forum, I can't understand what is the rationale to create another forum when the Board of Investment itself has another forum, CPEC Business Forum. So That is a private platform where it was mandatory to consult, has a consultation with that forum under the BOI for the investment policy and also talk about the facilitations.
Shakil,
The
hang on,
problem,
hang on. Sorry. BOI actually doesn't represent both the country. It is Pakistan's BOI, right? And
That's what I'm
CPEC is
saying.
a
Under
overall
BOI,
organic part. So
under
why not have this
BOI,
forum?
under BOI, there is an other forum with the name of CPAC Business Forum. So that is categorically for the same purpose, like that we enhance the cooperation between China and Pakistan to facilitate these things and consult with the business community from the both sides. If you go to the Board of Investment website, you will find the names of the members who are the member of that forum. That is officially notified members. So that's the one thing. Second thing,
Right, perhaps,
from-
let Mr. Asfar also answer that. Perhaps he could explain this better to you as to why this forum was a requirement for the country. Yes, Mr. Asfar.
Yes, what you are asking exactly?
So, Shakil Ahmed Rame is of the view that there already exists a current platform of the same nature for the same purposes as the forum that was launched yesterday. Is that so?
And just to
No, this is a
clarify
completely new
that
forum.
point.
There is no such forum in BOI. We are managing the China belt here, China desk here, but there is no other forum of CPAC or the China-Pakistan relations.
Right.
This is the
Asfar
only
Sahib,
forum
how
we
is this
started.
different from CPEC itself? This forum is different from CPEC?
Actually, CPAC is specific for CPAC activities, but this is actually the forum for all the activities between the investors, whether you are from any industry. So we are actually trying and we are receiving requests for, for the joint ventures and different sectors. So we are trying to explore opportunities from both sides, and this is beneficial for investors from both countries actually. So this is not restricted to CPAC only. This is actually for all the Pakistanis and Chinese investors. You are in any sector, or this is not only for only the large size project, but also the mid-size and the small size projects as well. So there is a huge opportunity because a few days back, the ambassador of China, Nong Rong, visited the Board of Investment office, and we had almost 90 minutes meeting. And during this 90 minutes meeting, we only discuss about the outreach, how to engage maximum Chinese investors in Pakistan, because a large number of investors already visited. They are in, for a few of them are investing, but keeping in view the size of the China economy and the size of the population is still, only a very limited number of Chinese investors visited Pakistan, or they are aware about Pakistan. So because of Corona also, there are still restrictions for the Chinese for the travel as well, because there is 28 days quarantine as well. But now we just started, and the China embassy target is also to engage to outreach for the maximum investment and the business houses to bring Pakistan. Number one. Number two, we also had a detailed discussion, 2 hours meeting with the Pakistan embassy in China with Ambassador Moinul Haq and his team. And now we are in consultation with Pakistan embassy in China and also China embassy in Pakistan. So through these efforts, in next few months, we are expecting a very good momentum of engagement of investors from both sides.
Right. Let us first let Mr. Shakil complete his thought, and I'll come to you, Faisal.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you look at, you can open the website of the Board of Investment, and you can find their CPEC Business Council there. And the chairman of that council is Abdur Razak Daud, and the chairman of a Board of Investment is a member of that, and others you can find the details. So one thing and second thing, Farrukh, the problem, right, what we are facing and the investor is facing in the Pakistan, that is the execution of the plan and the business environment. We talk a lot about that we have improved the business environment. If we go to the ground, so still there are a lot of complications. Any investor who come to the Pakistan, he had to deal with so many companies and so many departments and ministries. If you look at the facilitation role of Board of Investment after the 18th amendment of the Constitution, the role of the provincial Board of Investment has been enhanced. So in this scenario, they are facilitating to coordinate. The problem is how to make the decision efficient and time. There should be decision making should be time bound. Right now, that is not happening. So the focus should be right now is to improve the decision making and the implementation of the processes. Otherwise, we can launch so many forums and everything. The result would be the same as we are launching so many forums already. For example, I'll give you one example. We created CPEC authority. That is a wonderful initiative. But what decision-making power that authority has? Can that CPEC authority can make a decision? No, they are facilitators. So that means you are again making the one more institution, making further complicating the institutional framework. If you have to create some institution, that must be to decrease the time and must to improve the efficiency of decision making and implementation. That should be the focus. That is my whole point. So whatever the forum or the initiative we are taking, we must have to
I get that.
to
And Shakil, here's a question. Are you not comparing one G2G forum with one B2B forum?
Sir, that is different. It is a board of investment. If something is on the website of board of investment and is being chaired by the minister of that ministry, and the member of the chairman board is also the member of that forum, and the chairman of CPEC authority is also member of that forum. So that is already there on their website. I'm saying like that. Listen,
All right.
problem is,
all right. Of course, we've discussed this in detail. Mr. Asfar has already responded to that, so we'll move on to Faisal's question.
Yeah.
Yes.
My question to Chairman Asfar is, as we know that he is relentlessly working for investment to bring it to Pakistan, of course, from China. But I just wanted to know, first of all, how much investment we are looking at through his efforts and through this initiative. And then secondly, are we working in the same manner, the same efforts are being done for the other countries as well, for the Western countries, for the Middle Eastern countries as well? Are we going to have such kind of efforts put for them as well, sir?
You mentioned earlier that I joined Board of Investment 6 weeks back, so our focus is not only restricted to China. Of course, we are focusing on other countries as well, especially Saudi Arabia, not only for any aid, but also for, the investments. And we are in consultation with several groups as well as the Saudi government as well. I'm leading one of the projects Prime Minister gave to me, and I'm in consultation with Shaukat Tareen, the finance minister, and we are regularly discussing. In fact, we discussed this matter today as well in the evening. And there are several groups who are interested to invest in Pakistan. So now we are focusing to attract investment from Saudi investors as well, number one. Number two, as the chairman of Board of Investment, my 80% focus is to facilitate the existing investors in Pakistan, whether they are local investors, the Pakistani investors, or they are the foreign investors, the multinationals or the small enterprises who are actually foreign nationals owned enterprises. So if they are happy, if they are satisfied, because there are hurdles, there are barriers because of the system. This is not in the current government. This is the system since last 7 decades in Pakistan. So our main responsibility is to facilitate the existing investors. If they are happy, we will attract more and more FDI, number one. Number two, as far as the China is concerned, we are not limiting ourselves to any number as far as this forum we launched yesterday. This is just the beginning. And this is, I must say that the sky is the limit. It's up to us that how well we will engage, how well we will work and strategize our line of action and to attract maximum investors here. This is all about us. This is our responsibility to attract and avail the opportunity. The China government is now serious. China government is exploring. That's why, they endorse the idea of this forum. As far as the other CPEC projects are concerned, CPEC project and council or any committee is a separate issue. And there is no another just for the sake of forum, because Board of Investment is working in multiple dimensions. But this is specific China-Pakistan forum we created only for joint ventures, only for the collaboration, because there is the need. We are receiving requests, we are receiving proposals, we are receiving so many, during our interactions. So both embassies, the Pakistan embassy in China and China embassy in Pakistan, also felt this need actually. That's why BOI is initiated this forum actually.
Right, and I'm glad that you actually brought up Saudi Arabia as well, because one of your predecessor, I'm not going to name him, he's a mutual friend, when he was actually holding that office, and at that time Saudi Prince was coming here, we were summoned into his office and we were given this presentation that there is some possibility of investment. There was zero data from their side, from BOI's side, from any other side. So this time it is going to be different, right, Asfar Saab? We are going to
This
build
will
all
be a
the
very
content.
different thing, and Riyadh is the center of activities these days, and their plans are good. The world is coming to Riyadh. Riyadh is the next destination for this region, number one. Number two, recently we presented 73 ready projects of government of Pakistan. This was our first step. So there is one corporation, NCPP, which actually is led by the investment Mr. Khalid, and from my side, Pakistan side, I am leading this project. So we had several interactions. We are in daily communication. We presented 73 projects. Now we will shortlist the projects with them. So process is started. This is not without data. This is not without homework. Our homework is very good, and we are in communication with the finance minister also. Both of us are actually working on this. BOI is leading the project, and now we are answerable to Prime Minister. He is also looking after these things.
Right.
So
And
this time we are expecting much more, concrete projects and long-term FDI from the Saudi investors actually, because
Sure,
this is
and
the way
that's wonderful to hear, Mr. Asfar. Mr. Shakil, another important aspect that the Prime Minister also highlighted was, of course, with regards to urban planning and resource management, something that he said is also going to be at the core of his visit to China. When we speak about what needs to be implemented in Pakistan with reference to urban planning and resource management, can we take tips from the model that the Chinese side has developed? What sort of factors do we also need to take into account when we're looking at improving our own urban planning?
I think the question about urban planning, we can learn from the China how they control the pollution and they improve the environment in cities, and they are also planning to allow the number of people to migrate to the big cities and to creation of the new cities to avoid go for the expansion of the existing cities. For Pakistan, the most fundamental question we have to look at this point of the time, we have to control the expansion of the city, because this is the biggest problem. Why it is happening? Why the city are expanding? Because our big cities, they are also a center of economic activities and livelihood opportunities. People migrate for the economic opportunities and the livelihood opportunities. If government is sincere to create some better cities, they have to go for the creation of the new economic centers. Like we have the special economic zones in the CPEC. Around those CPECs, we can build the new economic centers, and automatically there will be population start to live there. We can also create the new economic centers like in the southern Punjab, interior Sindh, or in Balochistan, where people need, because most of the time it is the biggest pull factor for the migration, or you can say push factor also. So economic activities and the livelihood opportunities. If we are not going to create new economic centers, whatever you do, we cannot control the expansion of the cities. And this is also in line with the teaching of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He said, don't go for the expansion of the city, create new cities, because new city means a new economic centers, and people will not come. This is the only way
Mr. Shakil, we're almost out of time. My last question to you, Mr. Asfar, would be with regards to how a very important aspect of investment in Pakistan is, of course, with regards to venture capital and investment for startups, something that saw an exponential rise in the year 2021. A huge amount of investment came in the country. This, of course, is a developing aspect in Pakistan as in the world as well. But Pakistan is really at the core of this at the moment. Are there any sort of measures that the Board of Investment is taking in terms of bringing more venture capital in the country as well?
Yes, actually, this area is very important, and I just left 10 minutes back. I was in the meeting with the President of Pakistan, with some other officials as well as Abdul Razak Daud Saab as well, and few IT secretary was also there, and we especially discussed about this venture capital area. Board of Investment is also planning to engage the venture capital from around the world, and we are engaging them through a roundtable first, and then we will engage them on continuous basis. So Board of Investment started actually the sectoral roundtables. So on coming Friday, we are hosting the BOI Technology Roundtable, where we are engaging all the stakeholders. Around 300 practitioners will attend this in Islamabad Serena Hotel, and where we are discussing the issues and also the investment needs. And this will be a monthly meetup for the technology and telecom industry. Same we are doing for the engineering sector, same we are doing for the pharmaceutical sector, and same we are initiating for the venture capital. In fact, I had detailed discussion with you venture capitalists yesterday in a Zoom meeting, and we are planning to engage maximum venture capital at one platform. And so BOI is actually now, under my chairmanship, is working on outreach on different sectors. I clearly mentioned to the industries that we are not aware about the industry. Only the practitioner of a specific industry will advise us about the pain points as well as also the leads in the specific sector. And we will jump in and we will promote them and we will facilitate them. And again, our model is collaborative. We are working with different ministries. We are engaging with different stakeholders, regulators, and under the able leadership of Prime Minister Imran Khan, we are working.
Absolutely. And Mr. Asfar, that of course is the way to go forward, and I'm glad that the Board of Investment is taking that initiative and working towards increasing investment in Pakistan. Of course, an important forum was launched yesterday. Important decisions, of course, are being made with regards to Pakistan's economy and Pakistan's military strength. And we only hope that in the future, better days are to come. We see that Pakistan is on the rise, both in terms of its position and role as an important international player, and of course on the domestic front as well, specifically with regards to the economy. That is, of course, what is most important for the people in the country. Thank you very much for watching the debate.